There's nothing worse in this world than feeling stuck in a rut. It's horrible because you know that you need to break free, but nothing changes. You feel like a prisoner, but when you try to forget about it, a voice keeps reminding you of your captivity.
I knew that something had to change, but I was stuck. I was the breadwinner. I knew that I was dying. I was dying inside, and my body was dying.
The same thing happens to so many people in everyday life. If you are here listening to this right now, you've probably just had one of those what the f*** happened to my life moments. You might be feeling suddenly overwhelmed by the realization that years have gone by and your life hasn't really changed in any meaningful way at all. But trust me, your entire life will change the moment you stop seeking comfort and start embracing discomfort. I guess the last time you felt like you accomplished something was when you graduated high school or college or when you got your first meaningful job. But even with a great job, that feeling can still persist. Brother, if it still feels like everything's been the same for the last 5, 7, or 10 years, then it's time to wake up. Because if you don't, imagine being in your 80s and feeling the weight of all that regret. Trust me, brother, the older you get, the more the memories turn bitter.
I think you need to go through that bad stage or that bad period of feeling so and low and just questioning life to then go and elevate and then just go and absolutely smash it.
If you want to turn your life around now, I have 4 life-changing steps for you that can easily help you change your life for the better. Do you know why techniques like ice baths and quitting addiction cold turkey are so powerful? One reason is that they interrupt your regular pattern of living in a sudden and drastic way. If your life has been going on the same track, you have to pick a strategy that interrupts the physical and mental lethargy you are going through.
We get stuck in these fucking grooves, and it's so easy to keep making those same turns over and over again whenever you hit these very similar moments in your life.
Listen, brother, one of the most powerful strategies that achieves this is the no 0 days mindset. If antivenom is what you take for a snake bite, then this approach is one of the best antidotes you can actually take if life feels stuck. The power of compounding is insane, and it applies to self-improvement as well. That's why I highly encourage you to ensure that each day has at least one good thing, because this will add up over time. Something that I've noticed among a lot of other people is that getting out of a rut just feels like too much work. As a result, they would rather just not do anything at all. The no 0 day mindset helps you beat that lethargy. Trust me, there have been moments in my life where I knew that if I let the day go by without doing something, it would snowball and get worse every day. It's going to feel hard initially, but always remember, life is hard. So do hard things. Lift, run, sweat, speak up, strike out. Don't ask for an easier life. Train to be a stronger human. The easy life becomes hard, the hard life becomes easy. Even if I didn't feel like it, I would just get off my bed and do 20 push-ups, or I'd go for a quick 10-minute walk. The beautiful thing about doing something is that you aren't doing nothing. That's where the power lies. If you're doing something, no matter how small, it means you're moving forward. And brother, let me tell you, your mind recognizes it and reacts. It realizes, oh shit, things are happening. And that puts you on a track that you weren't on until then. However, this is just the first step. There's something even more important that you need to develop, ideally beforehand, to make the most of it. I'm going to tell you that in just a moment. But before that, I want to know why you actually feel stuck in life. Where did things go wrong? Please let me know in the comments below. Trust me, your comments really mean a lot to me, and I read every single one of them. I am impressed by your stories, by how you are coping with life despite all the challenges, and by how you, just like me, care about a better future. Let's continue on this path and see what life has in store for us at the end of the road. Listen, my friend, now comes the important part. One super powerful habit that I can highly recommend is the power of visualization. I strongly believe that one of the reasons you feel stuck is that you may not be using this skill. Imagine you are building a home. Do you just start pouring concrete and laying down bricks as you feel like? No, I don't think so. You will most likely use a blueprint, and that's exactly what visualization is. It's a mental blueprint where you picture a life worth living. You want it to be as specific and detailed as possible. But how? Well, like all things, you want to start simple, my friend. What I like to do is close my eyes, steady my breathing, and then start visualizing small activities or goals that I know I can complete. Perhaps there's an empty cup of coffee on the desk that's been sitting there for a while. I would imagine myself getting up and putting it in the sink. Listen, brother, really visualize and feel the emotions when you do this. Try to recreate that mild satisfaction of seeing a clutter-free desk. Then open your eyes and carry out what you just visualized. You are doing this to create evidence for your brain for it to understand that visualizing something can create real-world change. This is a very powerful technique that so many people never try. Does it sound like bullshit to you? It's not. Studies on athletes have proven this. When they visualized themselves lifting heavier weights, they were able to do so in real life. They could lift an additional 15 pounds more than those who didn't visualize. Once you recognize that you have real, unused power within you, you can use it to get out of a life that feels stuck as well. The most important thing is that, like Neo from the Matrix, you absolutely have to believe it. Make each visualization feel as strong as reality, and then don't think, just execute. In my experience, I find the best time to visualize is just before I go to bed and first thing in the morning. Your mind is extremely receptive just before you sleep, and whatever you imagine and believe in will stay strongly with you. Trust me, brother, this is something that can most definitely help you get out of a stuck life. All you have to do is start right now, but at the same time, you must beware self-deception. This is something that you don't hear elsewhere, but it's so important. When you try to research how to get out of a rut, it's almost always just the same advice over and over, but if you've been watching my videos, you know that I try to be real with you. For this reason, what I am about to tell you now will help you realize that the trap is actually closer than you think. You see, if life hasn't been going anywhere for some time, you got to be very careful with how you mentally process your world and reality. I've noticed how the mind loves coming up with coping mechanisms, and a lot of the time, they aren't healthy. And no, I don't mean getting into addictions or anything like that. That's a different problem. I'm talking about the way you might start rationalizing and explaining to yourself why you are going through a bad time. It's a rabbit hole that you want to be careful of, because one reason that getting out of a rut is so difficult is that we get a little too comfortable with it. We hated it at first, but then we started to make it our home. It's why you often see some people who spent time in prison or a toxic relationship actually want to go back. I was shocked when I heard that 76% of all inmates end up like this only 5 years after getting free. It made me understand that even if you live in a toxic environment where you lose your freedom, you can develop a mental structure and acceptance for it, and it becomes very attractive. In fact, it can be more attractive than trying to fix the problems that put you there in the first place. Brother, be honest with yourself and be careful how you answer the question of whether you like your life as it is now. You might instinctively say, no, I want to get out of the rut, but do you really? Or are you saying that just because you know it's the good thing to want? If you are really honest with yourself, you might acknowledge that there are certain toxic aspects of your life that you are completely fine with, maybe even enjoy. Psychologists call this type of contradiction between what you say and what you truly believe, feel, or do cognitive dissonance. You might know and say that you need to go out and talk to people once in a while, but in your heart, you may have started to enjoy isolating yourself. Do you really want to quit those bad habits you have developed, or do their predictability, familiarity, and comfort feel better? I want to stress that it's so important that you be fully honest with yourself. Overcoming these contradictions is so important because it's tough to change when you live in denial, my friend. You don't have to talk like a politician to yourself. Be real, be authentic. Only then can you prepare for what comes next, which is understanding the cost of comfort. Humans are the only creatures on Earth who are both blessed and cursed with consciousness. Your dog or cat at home does what it wants, eats, sleeps, and enjoys life as much as it can. It doesn't have any real reason to worry about anything other than its instinctual urges. As humans with consciousness, we have the ability to see the cost of our actions and inactions. Some of us use this knowledge wisely, but others try their best to ignore it and act like they can't see it. My friend, everything has a price in this world, especially those things that seem free. That which is free is often the most expensive, and we pay dearly for it. In the construct that we live in, time is the most valuable currency. It's like Bitcoin, but far more valuable. Today, 1 Bitcoin is worth a small fortune, but that wasn't always the case. With time, it has increased in value. Sure, it's dropped every now and then, but it's gotten more and more valuable. The value of time doesn't drop. One day is also worth a small fortune, but with each day, the value increases and compounds on, every day, every year. The older you are, the more valuable each day gets. I don't care if you believe in religion or not, but on this earth, we know that life is finite. If you choose to spend this extremely valuable resource like an animal, only following your instincts and never using your ability to discern between a good and bad life, what's the point of being human? Seriously, brother, this is a question you need to start asking yourself if you want to get out of a rut. What is your purpose for being here? Is it to be productive? Is it to help others? Is it to find and be connected with God or a higher power? I cannot answer that question for you, but if you really want to stop feeling stuck, if you want to stop feeling like none of your actions mean anything, then you need to find the answer to this as fast as you can. Do you prefer to be human and find the purpose of living with finite time, or do you want to give in to your animalistic side and embrace comfort over everything else? I don't know about you, my friend, but when I choose to be a human, it becomes impossible for me to allow myself to be in a rut. The sense of urgency I get gives me the discipline and motivation to transform my life around. I hope you choose wisely. It's interesting how the root of all our problems is a lack of awareness, yet our greatest gift as humans is that we have the potential to be aware. It sets us apart from all other animals, but for some reason, so many of us choose to ignore our conscious nature. It's like you have a superpower, but choose not to use it and struggle to open a stuck jar of pickles. It makes no sense, but that's the way we are. If there's one thing I want you to take away, it's to start using your natural superpower. Start being more aware of everything. You are literally a higher being on this earth. Act like one, and don't limit yourself for no reason. It's time to wake up, friend. If you feel stuck in life, remember, it's not too late to change. There are so many techniques and tools you can actually use to disappear and transform yourself. I'd like to finish this with a quote from James Sherman. You can't go back and make a new start, but you can start right now and make a brand new ending. So brother, let's start in this moment and create the ending we deserve.